We tested the Audi e-tron, the amazing electric SUV of 408 horsepower and 400 kilometers of autonomy that revives the Audi Quattro revolution. Audi's first electric series car, the Audi e-tron, has been slow to reach the market, but it does so firmly. Audi explains that its future is going through the electrification of its range, and equals the eruption of this electric SUV with the innovation that Quattro traction meant in its history, forever changing what Audi was to turn it into what it is now. We have finally tested the Audi e-tron, on the occasion of its presentation in Spain. Audi's commitment to electrification. The Audi e-tron is the first 100% electric model that the brand produces in series with the intention of solidly breaking into the electric car market, and it will be the first in a long list that includes 5 pure electric and 7 hybrids within 24 months. The Audi e-tron Sportback and the Audi e-tron GT will be next. Facing 2021, the Audi Q4 e-tron will arrive, and there is also a long variant of the Audi Q2, but for the Chinese market. They will be added the hybrids of the Audi Q5, Audi A6, Audi A7 and Audi A8. And so, until completing a range of 30 electrified models, between pure electric cars and hybrid cars, which in 2025 should account for 30% of Audi sales. This, in a clearly flattering scenario, in which hybrid and electric sales increased by 65% from 2017 to 2018, and by 99% in what we have been doing in 2019, compared to the same period last year. In Audi's commitment to electrification, a very pragmatic initiative in regard to the management of charging points should be noted. By negotiating with different energy managers, it has managed to link its entire recharging point offer with a single contract, so that it will no longer be necessary to collect the Endesa, Repsol, Iberdrola, and so on, etc. recharge cards, but with only one card, that of Audi. Electric cars of the brand of the Four Rings may be recharged at any of the points of the associated managers. And, most interesting of all, the price that the consumer will pay will be the same, regardless of who is the company providing the recharge service. The user of the e-tron charging service, which is what this service is called, will have more than 72,000 points in 16 markets in Europe, without having to worry more than a single user card. Or even that. The introduction of the plug-and-charge system will allow the Audi e-tron to be automatically identified before the electricity distribution point, and with that you can proceed to recharge the battery. Without cards, without using a PIN. Only with the car. The Audi e-tron will be able to use the IONITY recharge network, which by 2020 must have 400 recharging points distributed in 120 km intervals along the main roads of the European network. In Spain, work has already begun to provide our roads with charging points. With the Audi e-tron, the brand features a 95 kWh battery developed by Audi that can be charged in fast stations of up to 150 kilowatts, an unusual power in series-produced electric cars. With this technology you can charge the battery at 80% in half an hour. For domestic loads, Audi offers a power of 11 kilowatts, standard, or 22 kilowatts, as an optional system. In Audi they compare the e-tron with Quattro. The revolution that in the 80s meant for this brand the introduction of the all-wheel drive system is something that Audi seems similar to the objective they have set in the electrification of its range. And the first step was taken late, but firm, with the Audi e-tron. The competitors of the Audi e-tron are currently the Jaguar I-Pace, also the Mercedes-Benz EQC and the Tesla Model X, as the Four-Ring brand recalls, which sees the electric future of the premium SUV segment clear. On the horizon is the BMW iX3, and little by little we will see an even scenario in all brands. The electrification of all ranges is just around the corner. The Audi e-tron, as a starting point. The design of the Audi e-tron speaks very well of Audi, which has taken this SUV as a starting point for the electrification it wants to undertake. And he speaks very well for the normality that presides over the design of the e-tron, because finally a model conceived as an electric car does not look like an electric car but an Audi more, an Audi car that is also an electric car. Far from aspiring to épater le bourgeois, as many manufacturers have done looking for a markedly differential aesthetic point for electric cars, at Audi they go and do what they know best, apply the brand image to a new car. And if that car is electric, then that will be that it does not need gasoline or diesel, but nothing else. At least, in appearance. In addition, we must not forget that we speak of an SUV, which is not in vain that is the segment that sells the most, by far. Second key point, then, about how well the e-tron talks about Audi. The Four-Ring brand is committed to a segment that really sells to introduce its electric car. As characteristics of the e-tron electric SUV, Audi designers have simply highlighted the points that mark the electrical character of this model, namely the calendar, in light grey color so that it is seen that it is not a black hole that connects the outside world with the traditional engine compartment. It has selective opening depending on the cooling needs, for better aerodynamics. The diffuser, in the same color, emphasizes the absence of exhaust terminals. The heels, again in grey, enhance the location of the most important point of this electric SUV, its 95 kWh battery. The Audi e-tron is presented as an SUV of generous dimensions. It is placed by measurements between the Audi Q5 and Audi Q7, and naturally it looks great. Inside, the front seats are wide, while the rear seats can be differentiated between the exteriors, really comfortable in width and height, and the central one, which is reduced to a minimum, as is often the case in SUVs in the segment. As for the trunk, it has 660 liters that are divided between the 600 liters of the rear space, expandable up to 1,725 liters when folding the rear seats, and the 60 liters that, in the front, house the cables for recharging. By way of comparison, the trunk of the Jaguar I-Pace has 656 liters and that of the EQC, with 505 liters, although here the unbeatable is the Tesla Model X, with its 950 liters. The quality of interior finishes is excellent. There is a very good choice of materials, colors and textures, as well as a good assembly work. It really gives the feeling that we are in a vehicle of its category, which is also electric, and not in a car that to be able to meet the development costs due to the fact of being electric and without increasing the cost of the product, consequently ends up sacrificing the quality of finishes. In an electric SUV that starts from €82,440, this care for the finishes is, without a doubt, a detail that should be taken into account if we think of the target customer of this type of product. And the Audi e-tron complies well in this section. Prices of the Audi e-tron in Spain. The Audi e-tron comes with 4 versions, plus a special edition. On the basic model, there are the Audi e-tron Advanced, Sport and Black line. Its prices in Spain and its main features of equipment are the following.